Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of Generally Irritable. My special guest, Benjamin Nathaniel Reddick II. Ta-da! Always really fun to have Benjamin on with me. You all get to experience a little taste of what our conversations look like as a couple when we're just pontificating about politics and things like that. When he comes on the show. I've often said that we should record our conversations. It's like a Joe Rogan podcast where people just pontificate for like 3 hours.
Twice in like 2 minutes. Most people don't use that word. You're weird.
It's a good word.
I mean, it is.
Pontificate. Yeah. Pontification.
Wow.
Is what we do. Okay, just making sure. We're a little bit disheveled in here today, you guys. We're having some work done on the house. And so there is literally a bed propped up against the wall right there. And I have like seeing it out of the corner of my eye is making me paranoid. I'm a little bit afraid that it's going to fall down.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. Okay. So, we got a simple show for you this evening, probably not as long as normal,
but exciting, riveting
nonetheless. We've got some really great news, some updates, sharing some wins and some losses, and just really reaching out to you all to see what matters most to you, hear how you're participating in the election this year. Because as we say, and I got this from Benjamin, this is not a spectator sport. Politics is not a spectator sport. In fact, our system of government requires and expects you to be educated and participate. We are to be a self-governing society. And that's how our system was set up. That's how the Constitution was written. And the idea is to allow for maximum human flourishing, right? So if you want maximum human flourishing in your life, you don't want the government controlling what you get to do, controlling your property, controlling your body, and all of these other things, right? We don't want that. And so that means you have to be responsible. Yeah. Take responsibility for your own self-governance and participate, right?
You got two choices. You got freedom all in your life. You got government in your life. You choose.
Benjamin is now from Georgia. That was a good Southern accent.
My daddy was from Florida. I'm just saying.
Is that how Florida people talk?
I don't know. I'm not from Florida.
That sounds like
Texas.
A Georgia accent.
I have no idea.
Interesting.
I have no idea.
So, not to bury the lead. Olga's with us. Okay, awesome. So we're waiting, hoping Olga could join us at least in the chat this evening. Great news, amazing news. I am super excited, honored, and proud to share with everyone that Florida man, oh no.
Florida man is more powerful than Alabama man.
I'm just saying. So I received on Friday evening at the Libertarian Party of Vermont meeting to nominate candidates. They nominated me as their candidate for Congress. So
that's victory.
Ow! Right? I'm flexing. Can you see my flexing?
Then we're back. Let that flex. 2D flex. That is a logo. That is a logo right there. That is money. I'm just saying.
No, in all seriousness, I am really, really excited. I am super proud. I remember first learning about the Libertarian Party when Ron Paul ran for president. Thank you, Olga. We do have nice guns. You know, we try. But I first heard about Ron Paul and the Libertarian Party when he ran for president many, many years ago. Yeah. And it was the first time I'd really heard a politician just saying facts and reality and not doing this weird dancey thing with his language to try to not offend people. Yeah. That was a good politician dance.
The noodle,
the
spineless noodle dance.
Oh, that works. That is maximally appropriate for what we're talking about today. So I was like, wait, you can be like that and be a politician? That's pretty amazing. And it was one of the things that I would say kind of sparked my reintroduction to passion for politics and the Constitution and just our system of governance and what it means and what it looks like. And I've often said that I think, we've got this coalition of folks in the middle, right? There's 50% or so of Vermonters, registered voters, who don't consider themselves Republican, don't consider themselves Democrat. They just want to be left alone and have their constitutional rights. They want to go shoot their guns. They want to raise cattle and do all this stuff. They just want to live their lives.
Live in their communes, even,
their own little communes.
Yep,
raise their kids quietly without having to all this stuff. And to me, I feel like all of that middle are really very libertarian. Very libertarian leaning, and maybe they don't understand all of the economic policies, like getting rid of the Fed, or why we say hashtag taxes are theft. They may not understand those concepts, but if you talk to them about it, usually, right? So as we've been going around Vermont for the campaign, and we're talking to normal everyday Vermonters, whether they are an architect or a farmer or a cashier or a business owner, they're all kind of saying the same things, which is it costs way too much to live here and they have too much say over what I have going on.
Yep.
And so I think those folks really relate to the Libertarian Party and this idea of personal liberty, individual liberty, personal responsibility, low taxes or no taxes, right? And so I've always believed that the Libertarian Party is the way to access and talk to those folks in the middle, right? They just want to be left alone. They're not concerned about the social issues like Democrats and Republicans are. They're concerned about brass taxes. So that's kind of my framework as a constitutional conservative, is very libertarian. And so I'm really grateful. I'm really grateful that the Libertarian Party saw that in me and recognized that and decided to trust me with their flag, with their banner.
Yes. I'm very, very proud.
Oh, thank you, honey.
I think it's really, really cool because we've been watching this happen everywhere. Like, for the longest time, I said I was just an independent, meaning I'm going to vote for the person who makes the most sense at that particular time. I'm not beholden to a particular party. And when I got to understand what the libertarians were saying, is like, I didn't agree with maybe everything that was said, but the logic was consistent and it made sense.
Yes.
Whereas the other side, specifically when I think about my friends more towards the left, they couldn't always articulate why, in principle, based on the Constitution, we should do X, Y, or Z.
Right.
And the libertarians, even more so than some of the Republicans I knew, were very, very clear on why they believed what they believed.
Yes.
And so that was, it had me to start looking at the Constitution and freedoms and rights and privileges in a different
what's
light.
The difference? What is it? What is a right actually? What is the definition of a capital R right? Okay, you gotta move over a little bit.
Fine, whatever.
We're this is what happens. We get all excited and then we end up on one side of this screen or the other.
It's okay.
No, but when you start to really dig into definitions, right? Actual definitions of words when they were written down on the piece of paper, not what we think they mean today, but what they meant when they were written. Okay, right? Because I'm a constitutional originalist.
Yes.
I believe the Constitution means what it meant when the words were written on the paper.
Otherwise, you get to violate contracts, and that is not good. And you would not like that in any other part of your life.
Not okay.
So maybe we don't do it with our Constitution.
And so this is what I'm really excited about. I'm also really excited to see a resurgence in this constitutionalist, rights-based Republican Party, right? So a lot of us remember the Republican Party of the 90s and the 2000s, where they were just as happy to spend up and overtax our deficit, borrow money from people who hate us, not pursue intelligent domestic energy policy. So we've seen, I would say, over the last especially for me personally, noticed over the last like 4 to 6 years, the Republican Party really start to focus again on its core values of, I mean, if you think about it, the Republican Party, the first Republican was Abraham Lincoln, and it was created at least in part out of the abolitionist movement. So these were people who cared about human rights, human dignity, individual liberty. They wanted to make sure that the promise of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights was true for everyone. Black, white, slave, non-slave, well, I mean, abolishing slavery. You get my point. So this reestablishment of core principles to the Republican Party is why I think so many libertarians and Republicans are really starting to agree on a lot of issues.
Yeah.
So some of the social issues libertarians and Republicans disagree on, but the core values and the core tenets, it's those people who are right of center. I really think we've got a lot more in common than we have in disagreement.
Correct.
What have you, Olga, what would you say is the biggest difference? And we'll talk about this. Hopefully we're going to have a unity show after the Republican primary. Hopefully it's a meeting with Olga, Paul, and I talking about working together, all of us right of center, to get moderates and conservatives elected to office.
Correct.
Let's get people who can do math and care about rights elected to office. Olga says the Bill of Rights are an excellent example of libertarian principles. Exactly. It's basically the framework. It's basically the party platform is freedom of all this stuff. And, oh, by the way, make sure you got some guns to protect yourself. Right?
Yep. Oh, got another one there.
Oh, okay. The middle has nowhere to go, right? Oh, so Michael says, the middle has nowhere to go. The everyday folks have had no voice anymore. That's correct. Exactly correct. You've got the folks on the right screaming the loudest, right? The pro-life, hardcore conservatives are out there. Some of them are calling people names and being rude and being mean. And then you got the far left, atheist, communist people, right? Like the extremes. I feel like that's all we hear from is the extremes. Total government control of the means of production versus theocratic rule. Yep. Neither of those is a good option.
Well, funny part is that they all sound the same. And I've often thought about this when I watch people who are hard on the left. It's like, man, you guys sound like Puritans. So you have the Puritans, which that didn't work when you try to make people do a bunch of stuff. And then you had the people who are now on the left, and now they got the power. Now they sound like the people they were fighting against all this time.
Yep.
So you just hear a bunch of yelling and screaming. And the thing is, like, when you're talking to adults, they don't want to hear that. I want to hear, how does your solution ensure maximum freedom, minimum damage to everybody else around me?
Yep.
And allow me to prosper and have as much choice in the matter as possible.
Yep.
The hard part for, I think, people is that when you do things like that, it requires, it necessitates a bunch of responsibility. You're going to have to be responsible. And the truth of the matter is that everybody wants to just, they want to flex and not be responsible. Like, that's it. Like, you want the money for the gram to flex on the gram, but you don't want to work. And as we were talking about the other day, is like, hey fam, your backbone has to equal up to your wishbone. And most people just aren't really prepared to do that.
Wow. Wait, say that again?
Your backbone has to equal up to your wishbone.
That is wild. And it doesn't oftentimes. There is a real sense of entitlement that has been ingrained into our culture that people are just due stuff. They're just owed things from other people.
Rights. They're owed, and they're talked about like their rights, and they are privileges.
Well, and this is what what really disappoints me, and I talked about this a lot at the Vermont Council for Independent Living Candidate Forum, was that we need to be instilling a sense of duty and responsibility into our young people. And yes, I said duty. I don't care. Duty and responsibility need to be ingrained into our young people, because right now, these next generations, the millennials and many of them upcoming, don't feel like they have to participate. They don't feel a sense of, oh, I should be volunteering my time at the senior center or helping tutor kids in school. They really, there's no sense of duty. And that's what I think, for people don't want to talk about Christian values and religious values, but it's often those institutions that are instilling that sense of responsibility in people. And if we live in the most unchurched state in the union, who is instilling those values? Is it the parents instilling it doesn't seem like parents are instilling the values. Our school certainly isn't instilling the values. Our school is telling people that they're owed something.
Yeah.
So it's just really interesting. Okay, let's see.
Lively chat today.
Yes. The Latina Libertarian said, sadly, the elite of the party are behaving like progressives, driving the speed limit. They will eventually take on Democrat stances at a delay.
Nice.
Libertarian Party is now focused on liberty, period.
Ooh.
I mean, that's what it has to be. That is really what it has to be.
Yep.
It's funny how Republicans don't blame the gun, blame the person, but don't use this same logic for governments. I mean, here's the thing. Let's be real. Politicians are all hypocrites.
Yes.
They are. That's not fair. We're not supposed to say all or nothing, always, never. But people are very big hypocrites. Yeah. And I will just tell you, I've mentioned this a bunch of times at this point, but I think it's really important to drive home the point. Every couple of days, and it was way worse at the beginning of the campaign. I mean, every multiple a day, I was getting emails and letters in the mail from special interest groups offering an endorsement. Here, fill out this questionnaire. And if we like your answers, then we'll consider endorsing your candidacy, which means money for my campaign and attention on my campaign, right? Yeah. So that's money and influence that they're offering to me if I will infringe on my neighbor's constitutional rights and take money out of their pocket to give to them and their people. So we hear Democrats complain all of the time about how there's too much money in politics and corporate money, blah, 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 blah. Well, I've basically gotten no corporate or special interest group endorsements because I've said no on all of these questionnaires. I'm not going to infringe on my neighbor's constitutional rights, and I'm not going to take money out of their pocket to give to your pet projects. I'm not going to do that. But my opponents on the Democrat side are happy to say, oh, we'll give your money. They're the ones getting the endorsements. The Firefighters Association. Oh, I'm calling them out. The Firefighters Association endorsed Becca Ballant and Sarah George, who have defunded the police. Sarah George doesn't lock up violent criminals. And now their guys, firefighters, EMTs, are having to go out to dangerous situations with overdoses and violent criminals. And they still endorsed them. Why? Why?
Because they want more work.
Because they want people who will endorse the labor unions and give them money. They're endorsing people who will give them money from your pocket and then also force businesses, municipalities, and government agencies to behave in a certain way. One of the questions was actually, will you subvert states' rights? It was literally, this bill will force states to allow unions. I can't vote for that. I'm a constitutional conservative. I'm about states' rights. So this is what we're up against, you guys. Hypocrisy. The Democrats they say they care about affordability. They say they care about your pocketbook. And they say they care about corruption and money in politics. And then they make promises. And then we wonder what's wrong with our government and our campaign finance and all of the other things. And so this whole process, you guys, has been incredibly enlightening and eye-opening and just like really seeing what is wrong with things. Let's see. We got a lot of comments.
They're here.
That's why. Oh, wait, hold on.
Here.
No, this was the last one, sadly.
No,
Yeah.
no, you already read that. You read this one. That's where you are there.
Well, no, this one where
Yeah.
she says, I like this one. I'm going to put this one up. There, the few Republicans that are liberty based, and there are some Rand Paul, Tom Massey, and some good local Vermont uphill battle within their own party. It is very true.
Yeah.
And I was told to put a list together of House reps, of Congress people that I like their policies, or I like the way they behave, that I think I line up with ideologically. And I said Thomas Massey, and I was told that people think he's a butthole and they hate him. And I was like, what? I think he's awesome. He votes no on all of the budgets because they're stupid and outrageous. He was schooling ignorant House reps on what a bump stock is.
I want to touch on that for a second. I don't know much about Thomas Massey's other things, but I did watch him discussing the gun debate, and I put a post up about this, but I really want to explain this because it was really problematic to me. Guns, that's a matter of physics and engineering. It's a physical item in the physical world, realized here for a very long time. We know how they work, how they don't work, what they're all about, right? We have people in government who are in charge of making really important decisions.
Very important.
Who do not even want to take the time to understand how a gun works, single action, double action, bump stocks, arm braces. They don't know what they're talking about. And they're passing laws. And if you look at that Thomas Massey meme about bump stocks, I thought it was a joke. I was like, there's no way that these people said what they said about a bump stock.
Yes, they did.
And then I went and watched it. I researched exactly how bump stocks function. I looked at arm braces, and I was like, there's no way that they could believe that it was a quote. They don't know how these pieces of equipment actually function. That is something that is observable and testable. They could go get a gun right now and test this stuff. Yep. They're passing laws and they don't understand it. So imagine how ridiculous it is to trust these people, right, with things that are even debatable. When you're talking about things like the pandemic and what the proper maneuvers are, when you're talking about how to help injustice or whatever, these are things, economics, where there's open debate on the best way to move forward. You can't trust them on basic math and physics and engineering and things that are proven and easy to test.
Yep.
I'm supposed to trust them on things that are even bigger, more dangerous, and that there's actual debate on.
Yes.
They're not smarter. They're not smarter than you.
They're not. Okay, so I want to play this a little bit because I want to be careful because I don't know what the rules are about sharing some of this footage. So I'm going to share with this, you guys, especially for my 2A people, about how silly this is. Yes, Mike, that is exactly why you and I are stepping up. Mike Deering for Berry City. Everybody go check him out. Mike, put in the chat a link to your website and any socials and stuff like that so people can go follow you. Okay, so this is the argument that's happening in Congress right now, you guys. So this guy is trying to claim. Wait, his hands in the
automatic weapon. This bumps.
He's trying to claim that this brace
so it will allow that
is a bump stock and can be used as a bump stock. That is what this man is claiming. Okay, he is saying this arm strap, the stabilizing brace, which is actually used for people who have disabilities or have strength issues or anything like that. It helps them fire, aim, hold their gun better. And by the way, the House did pass the gun ban, the assault weapons ban.
18,
yep, which includes HR 1808. Excuse me, HR 1808. The House did pass it. It literally bans all guns.
Does it?
It bans everything but muzzle loaders and no, even revolvers. Didn't it say some revolving action? It said anything with an ejectable magazine.
Well, the way it's I don't know if that's what it did. What I would say is that the way it was written, there are ways to interpret it because it says things. Firearms that have, I forget the exact wording, firearms that have like the option of a feature such as a removable magazine. I'm like, well, that applies to every semi-automatic firearms, just about every pistol that I own,
Yep.
that's kind of how they
That's
work.
pretty much every
Yeah,
modern day gun.
It's not good. I heard they might have pulled it back, but the point is they're not done. It's going to happen again.
Oh,
They're going
yeah.
to keep trying.
So you guys can all remember, we said this isn't a spectator sport. So for all my non-voters out there who think that, oh, I'm just going to sit back and I'm just going to not do anything, this guy is going to decide what constitutional rights you can have access to,
Yep.
deal with, or see. Okay.
Mind you, he isn't going to suffer any consequences.
No consequences.
They have security.
So hold on. So let's get back to that. Put a pin in there.
Okay.
Remind us to come back to that.
We'll come back to
Because
that.
Olga said all gun control is racist. We're going to talk about this. Okay. So here's the deal. Mary, thank you. I appreciate your vote. I love that. Okay. So this guy is saying this arm brace is a bump stock, right? This is how stupid it is. Now, what does a bump stock actually do?
Forth, and each time it hits my finger,
so
finger connects with the trigger side,
explanation.
And then using the gun, I can pull forward with this hand. My finger connects with the trigger, pulls it, and then the gun will bounce back and forth.
Okay,
and
this
each time
is
it
an
hits my
actual
finger,
bump stock.
It'll shoot another round. And since the gun is doing it all automatically, it can pull the trigger faster than I can pull the trigger. Hence the full auto function of the bump stock.
Yeah.
So these are the bullets right here.
Okay.
We have a
Now, this is how a bump
let's
stock
see how this
actually works.
All right.
Okay. Now, does anybody think that you could make that happen with the arm brace that the House wants to ban? This
Only
arm
persons
brace.
with disabilities, that would be a different issue. But
I mean,
there's no way to
seriously.
ensure that.
Reclaiming my time.
This is
yield the
what
gentleman
is
from
this is
Kentucky.
what is
Yeah,
so
the-
nonsense. You have people. What was it? The guy who said that the island would tip over if we put a base on one side of it. Oh my God. Sheila Jackson Lee saying that an AR weighs as much as 10 pounds that you might carry and takes a 50 caliber bullet.
I believe a 9mm was blowing the lungs out of bodies.
Oh
at
my
some
God.
point.
It is absolute nonsense.
But I want to focus. The
Okay.
reason we're focusing on this is not because Second Amendment protects all the other amendments. That's not the only reason. These are verifiable facts. This is the stuff. This is all right where they're talking about things and they are not even paying attention to the science. They keep saying trust the science. These are the people who say trust the science. They don't know what they're talking about.
They don't know
This
what
is
science is.
this is the thing where we can say you're wrong, and they won't even cop to being wrong when they're corrected. Do you think that they know any more about anything else?
No,
Just
they
saying.
definitely do not. And that's one of the things, actually, I will say that I think makes me especially qualified to be a good congressional candidate is I've been doing this show, Generally Irritable, for the last 3 years now anyway. And over this period of time, I've gotten to interview, talk to, and highlight some of the smartest people in their industry and field. And so I've already got a coalition of experts that I can call on and ask questions when bills come across my desk. I've got people who I can call to explain any of this weird science that I can say, hey, so-and-so, could this arm brace be used as a bump stock? What does that actually mean?
Yep.
But also, by the way, it'd be a gun control law and I'd vote no matter what. So that's all there is to say about that.
They have plenty.
Okay.
It's lively. Might as well use it.
Fish and Chip says, I know many union members who vote Republican, but the union leaders and organizers vote down the ticket. That was the impression that I got, was basically the union is going to do what's best for the union, regardless of what's best for its members, which in theory should be the same thing, but in reality may not be. So let's see. Public unions screw people. They absolutely do. That's why I'm against public sector unions. Eli, I'll be voting for you. Thank you, Eli. Sassy with Massey. I love that. He's an MIT graduate.
Makes sense.
You know what? I'm going to call his office or
I have
campaign
to.
or whatever, even though I was told not to bother. Oh, Massey is brilliant. All my libertarians are in the room right now. I love this. Let's see. Oh, excellent. Michael put his stuff in here. Facebook, Twitter. I like it. It's what we need. Liberty-minded, conscientious people who can do math.
Yep.
They, Olga, I wouldn't be surprised. They want
Heavy.
full disarmament of the American people. These elites are insane and disconnected. It is so true. So let's get back to that. You were saying similarly to what Olga just said, they will always have armed. They have armed security. It's called the United States military.
Yep.
The Air Guard, the National Guard, the Marines, the Air Force, the Army. Okay, like Navy.
Or they'll write some exception where they get to carry and you don't. That's what will happen.
Because they're the specials. And they deserve, because they're in public and they're more deserving.
Yeah. I got a real question. And if anybody, I don't know the answer. This is a legitimate question. Has Congress in recent history, or maybe even ever, voted in a time of a crisis, like where we're going through the pandemic and people were taking pay cuts and all those sorts of things? Did they ever vote to lower their pay?
Never.
Or give up benefits?
Or rights?
No. I'm curious if anyone in chat could figure that out and let us know.
Yeah. When have they ever decreased their own power?
Or decreased their security or power? Like, when has that happened that we're just not aware of?
Have their benefits ever been cut? Because I'm pretty sure they have the best health insurance that money can buy. You and I can't afford to buy our own health insurance, but they can certainly appropriate money out of our pockets to pay for their own. Yeah, maybe a pay increase. Yeah, exactly, Mike. They never take away their own power. I might be one of the only candidates whose sole goal, I shouldn't say sole goal, but main goal in getting elected to office is to reduce the size and influence of the federal government. Like, I actually want to shrink the government. That is my goal.
But check this out. There's the backup part to that. If you shrink the federal government, power goes back to the state. You have to have an engaged and informed electorate, or you either end up with the same thing or worse.
Yep, exactly. Because then the tyrants are just closer to home rather than in Washington.
Correct.
And that's what, my purpose when we talk all the time about an engaged and informed electorate, what I really got from doing the Purpose Project and Landmark and a lot of these optimization programs, my purpose is an engaged and informed electorate. I want people to be inspired to participate in their government. I want them to be excited to learn about how the system works and what matters. And that's how I think we solve so many of our problems.
Yep.
Instead of waiting for daddy government to take care of us, why can't we take care of us? And if people knew, when I go around the state and I talk to people about the fact that we have abortion up to the point of birth here, when I talk to them about the fact that our state legislature tried to pass a carbon tax while we were in the middle of an energy crisis, when I let them know that, the number of family farms in the state of Vermont has shrunk to under 1,000 from tens of thousands in previous generations. People can't believe it. Yeah. And it's because they're disengaged. Yeah. They're not paying attention to politics. And I think a lot of it goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is all of the nonsense and the rhetoric. Yeah. People just check out.
I'd ask you a question. When was the last time in Vermont, this is probably not that bad, but when was the last time you talked to a farmer? How are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you dealing with? They make your food.
Yes. Might
be good to know how they're doing. Do you think that our Congress people are actively out here talking to the farmers, not the ones that have multi-million-dollar facilities, like the regular farmers?
Yeah. We were just at the Winooski Farmers Market this morning, and we were talking to a couple folks there saying that I'm going to probably ask her to write it down for us so I can remember. I think they said just the twine to roll up the bales of hay was tripled in price. The transit fees for shipping supplies and materials has doubled. They couldn't afford fertilizer for their hay fields this year, which is going to affect their ability to feed their livestock through the winter. So the downstream effects that people like Becca Ballant are celebrating when she says we're going to tax the hell out of fossil fuels, she wants your food to be too expensive for you to eat. And she may not be calling for that, but she doesn't understand.
Correct.
This is the point. They do not understand the consequences of their policies.
Or the other thought process is we try to assume, what is it? Hanlon's razor. We try to assume that maybe they're not being, it's not malice, right? I don't think many of these people have malice. What happens is they believe that whatever they're doing is so important that the cost is worth it and to justify the means. So I think that a lot of times that they're like, oh, well, the planet's going to end in 7 years.
How many years do we have left now?
I don't know. What
9,
did you say last
8.
time? 6, 5, 4. I don't know. And so the whole thing is, if you think that the Earth is getting ready to crack in half, well, okay, I got it. Maybe you are going to be a little more extreme, but if you're wrong, you're doing tremendous amounts of damage to everybody else. Damage. You're gonna cost lives.
This is okay. Olga says, if you're interested in running for justice of the peace, contact me ASAP. It is an important role in your local government. Helps oversee elections. All of my GOP people out there, all my folks who are Democrats are concerned about elections too, y'all. If you're concerned about election integrity, become justice of the peace.
Don't need
they help run elections.
Right?
Exactly. There's nothing. I don't even think there's an age requirement for justice of the peace. So we can get you on the ballot still. We can do a write-in campaign. So contact Olga, Libertarian Party. Hold on one. Actually, let's show the websites. All right. So Libertarian Party platform, that's where I went to, but there's also, check this out, contact page. Holler at your girl. Oh, look, there's Olga. Hi, Olga. Spencer Sherman, Anne Lepeltier, and oh my God, my brain just farted. Oh my God, he's going to be so mad at me. He was on the show. I'm a terrible person. So contact them, sign up, be justice of the peace. Okay. Go do it. Here's the other thing. You can actually also go to what? The Republican Party and do the same thing. Okay. Look at run for office. Send Paul a note. So either of these. Oh, is it just taking a minute? Oh, it's taking a minute. You can send information over. Okay. Get involved.
If you're not getting involved, you're leaving it up to the people who are less qualified than you. You're leaving it to the people who don't know how guns work and think islands are going to tip over. Literally. Just saying.
If you're not participating in the process, everything that's wrong is your fault.
You're reffing.
Just for the record. I just want to make sure that's super clear. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what disabilities you have, what medical problems you have. Okay, one of our volunteers is blind. One of our volunteers is recovering from breast cancer, a mastectomy. And these folks are taking time in what way they can that makes sense. We're happy to accommodate any special considerations you need. I'm sure a lot of campaigns are happy to do that. Oh, so it takes a little bit more thought to help get somebody coordinated. Who cares? Okay. You can get a stack of flyers and just put them on people's cars in the Walmart in your town. So get involved. Okay.
Ooh, wow. That's strong.
What are you looking at?
I'm just reading.
Which one? Who?
Oh, his comment about Becca is rough.
Oh, well,
you don't say it. I'm just saying that that's what she said.
Oh, so I shouldn't say it?
That's what she said.
Okay, I'm not. Okay, no comment.
We're not going to comment on that.
D-Way says, when you have laissez-faire capitalism, you're going to have these small farms get slapped out of the way in favor of cheap internationalism.
What's the solution to that?
Deregulation. A lot of it is deregulation. So over the years, I don't remember all of the things, but I remember Whether it was watching the movie Food Inc. and learning how Monsanto and all these other massive conglomerates were eating up small local farms. And so a lot of these big industrial farms have, you're seeing a reduction in topsoil. They're overutilizing insecticides and all of this other stuff. So the biggest thing we can do is decentralize and deal with any sort of monopoly issues that are going on. So, and one of the ways we can do that, address the corruption and overreach of the federal government. So you've got an FDA who's in bed with corporations like Monsanto, allowing them these monopolistic practices, putting small farmers out of business.
Here's my question. This is the real question.
Yeah.
So all of that is to say that when they do that big industrial farming, the prices are cheaper, right?
In theory.
But that's why other farms are getting driven out of position, is because of that. That's one
it's
issue the small
basically
farms deal
like
with.
Bigger farms are able to leverage. They can leverage capital. But it's also, there's some places like in Vermont and in other places around the country where certain equipment is required for any various kind of livestock training. And this is what I'm saying. I'm trying to remember I've just read so much about it. It's like, oh, you have to have this kind of a, machine that processes things this way. And it's like, you have to have some multi-million-dollar tractor to do the extraction a certain way.
It becomes cost prohibitive.
Exactly.
So take all that out, and then there's another way around this, right? People often talk about price. That's our fault. Okay. We went to a farmer's market. I bought a ribeye steak there. Okay. Did it cost more than at the grocery store? Sure. But I bought it from a local farmer because it was worth it. Right? People wear Jordans and play PlayStation 5s. The PlayStation 4 still works. Okay? It still works. I know people, we have nice camera. People are already on the next series of camera.
Oh, yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're already on the next iPhone or next Android phone. Not because they need it for work, because it's the new thing.
Right.
We are spending additional money on the things that we think are valuable. You don't think that the people around you and the small businesses around you are valuable, which is why you won't spend an extra $1 or $2. For the record, as an artist, this is the job. When your friends have businesses, it isn't your job to go ask if they got a discount. Your job is to pay the regular price and maybe add a tip, and then maybe buy another one and throw it out as a gift to help them market their business. We act like we're price conscious all the time, but we're not as price conscious. Now, if you're poor, you're dealing with financial struggles, I got it. I'm just saying, a lot of people really aren't poor, but they're going to shop that way when it's certain things. And when we're talking about people and their businesses and small businesses and people in your local community, all of a sudden we get super price conscious. But we got Jordans on, we got the new Adidas on, you're wearing Yeezys.
Got my new iPhone.
If a $500 suit, I'm just saying.
What do we value?
What do we value?
Speaking of values, Fish and Chimp says, it took me 30 minutes to explain to my parents what the Milankovitch cycle and the La Nina, excuse me, and why the weather changes from year to year. Many people don't know. It's very true, because the weather and the climate are the same. Okay. Fish and Chimps, they are the same. You need to stop trying to separate them. Okay. Speaking of sarcasm and satire, we're going to have a series of videos starting to get released over the next couple of weeks that are, I think people are going to appreciate and think are really funny. You guys know I do comedy. I come from a comedic background, and I think it's a good way to communicate stories and information. Let's see. Decentralization. Yes, decentralization. Many federal agencies should not exist. Small local localities figure this out. Agreed. Oh, there's decentralization again. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was it. It was Guam. Remember, we were trying to remember what it was. Guam could become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize. That is what one of our Congress people said.
Let me tell you what was very painful when he was talking, because they were talking about the base, right? I think he was talking about putting a base on the
They
island.
wanted to
And
build something.
It was
or-
painful. One of the reasons it was painful because he's black, and I'm like, come on, fam. Don't ask that question in
repping the
private.
team bad.
Don't say that. Don't say that on television. Ask that question in
Work
private.
those things out before you go in public.
It's like that kid when you're in class. He's like raising his hand. You're like, yo, this is a stupid question. Don't ask that. Ask the teacher in private after we've all started working, so we can get through this, please.
Yep.
It's very rough.
Oh my God, fish and chimps. Yes, I talk about this all the time. Childcare. A decade ago, Vermont regulated the childcare industry. About 2/3 of childcare centers closed. Now they're complaining that there's a shortage of childcare. They basically made it so this is totally true. So much of what is wrong is actually the result of bad government policy. Okay. So whereas you used to be able to have, like, I could have had a daycare at my house where I just babysit, maybe my kids and maybe a couple of the neighbors' kids. And we as a community decide that that's cool. Okay. And I don't have to have some playground in the backyard and specially regulated, safety burger, whatever the nonsense is. So they basically shut down all the local small childcare centers in the name of safety and security. And what it did is it destroyed everything. They destroyed home-based care to promote school-based care. I think I wouldn't even be surprised if, oh my God, look at it. She's so stupid. Jesus, fix it. # Guam. I'm sorry. I got totally distracted. I was having a serious conversation and I got totally distracted by the Latina libertarian. She's so funny. The point is, the government always thinks it has a solution. It always thinks it has a better idea.
Oh, this is good.
And it almost never does.
No, you can't look at my thing. I was researching.
Oh, okay. Because I was getting ready.
Go ahead, go for it.
Well, how much more do we want to talk about?
No, I'm following this up. Go ahead. Finish your
that was it.
Here's the thing. I had to look up the exact word, the Hegelian dialectic, I believe is what it's called. I was trying to remember. Hegelian.
Okay.
Yeah. It's problem, reaction, solution. The reason the government always has when there's a problem, they always have a solution ready is because they created the problem knowing they already had the solution.
Oh my God.
And I'm not even trying to be funny. It's why whenever there's a major crisis, whatever, they go back to a talking point that they've been waiting to use. They're like, oh, here's our chance. Here's a moment. They're emotional. We're in the moment. That's why you see a lot of people when they're more conservative, they're like, we check the emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when the George Floyd stuff happened, I was like, you showed a man die on television nonstop
over and over again. And you didn't think that was going to have an effect on people's psyche?
Everyone was emotional. You can sell any solution at that point. You can get people to do anything if
they're panicked.
And it's like, well, it doesn't matter where you land on that issue. I'm watching a man die. I'm upset.
Yes.
I'm upset. It's upsetting. It's sad. Right? It doesn't matter whose fault you think it is.
You're going to be it's going to create an emotional charge no matter what.
That's basically like the media. What is the word for that? Like when you're in an abusive relationship and they're like gaslighting you.
Yes.
That's really what they were doing. Yeah. And it's really gross. It's gross. Media.
It's rude. We're
gross.
talking to you.
You're gross. Anyway.
It is true.
Yes.
So we were planning a short episode today. Was there anything else we need to make sure we cover?
Let's go through their comments real quick.
Okay. So, and just to recap, the point of today's episode is I got the nomination for Congress from the Libertarian Party. Do, 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 do.
We're back.
I'm very excited.
Back to being congressional. We're back to being congressional.
Yeah, no, seriously. I'm really, really excited, you guys. This is just, I think it is.
I dare our opponents to put those sweet moves and try to use it against us. I dare you.
I really feel like, oh, thank you, Angelo. And thank you, Harvey. I'm so excited. It is, for me, I think it is this kind of culmination, or it is evidence for how hard we've been working. in this campaign. And we've been running around like crazy. We've been driving all across the state, but we have not done this alone. Whether it's Ray building these amazing, ridiculous floats, Patty helping keep me organized, Mary helping make sure that we've got all the supplies that we need, Barb sending out thank you cards.
Yeah.
I'm totally going to forget people.
Jim, the horse.
Jim coming with cinnamon to the Lyndonville Stars and Stripes parade and getting to ride a horse in the parade. Olga helping and the Libertarian folks and the folks in Northeast Kingdom, Health Choice Freedom people helping with the Maple Festival parade.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, there's so many people to thank for showing up and getting the work done. Oh, Kathleen, who's been coming, and she started making phone calls. We need people to make phone calls, you guys.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of folks who say they're too chicken to make phone calls. I'm out here taking the bows and arrows. All you got to do is leave voicemail, basically, because nobody answers their phone, but at least they'll hear about the campaign. So consider being a phone caller.
Yeah.
We have to reach out to the folks outside of the urban centers.
Correct.
And those folks are not watching YouTube necessarily or Facebook. They're not.
Have you seen The Expanse? We call them like the belters. They're out here in the fringes, and they're not, no one's taking care of them. No one cares about them. And that's the people we need to talk to.
Exactly. And so that's going to be, if we don't have a bunch of money, like Becca Ballant with her $1 million in the bank, plus all these PACs sending out mailers. Many people have already told me how many mailers they've received for the Becca Ballant campaign, all paid for by PACs and nonprofit organizations, or not nonprofits, but special interest groups on her behalf. So she has all that money. How do we compete with that? With your help.
Yep.
Get on the field, help, make phone calls, solicit donations, put flyers out on cars. We've got 2 huge banners, one that say reddickforcongress.com, that we need folks to hold over the overpass, as in places like South Burlington.
Yes.
Okay. So you and a couple of friends could hold this banner where they've been doing the Canadian flag waves and things like that. You can hold the banner there. How many thousands of people are going to drive by on 89 and see our sign? Okay.
Freedom.
This is a very simple task that requires very little effort that you can do, that you can help with and make a huge difference for the campaign. So there's my pitch.
Boom.
Okay. So.
And I want to talk about something. We often talk about like how you can't trust the government to take care of you, because I don't know why you would, but we can get into the weeds on that.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just say history should disabuse you of that notion. But the reason that we say that is not because government isn't going to serve some purpose. It's going to be in your life in some form or fashion. You have to pay attention. It is not a puppy in your arms. It is a pit bull on a leash. It's got a specific set of jobs you needed to do. You need to be really good and really efficient. You don't want a fat pit bull. You don't want a fat, slow, weak pit bull. It needs to be vicious at its job and effective.
You can't have a bloodhound with allergies.
Correct. So we say this not so like, oh, well, government, screw government. They have no positions. And no. You need to trim it down, and you got to watch it. You got to pay attention. You can't trust everyone.
Yep.
Test. You got to keep testing what they got going on.
I like this. Oh, sorry. Did I interrupt you?
No,
I like this comment from the Latina Libertarian. I think more Republicans are realizing having the government legislate their morals is a bad idea.
Yep.
It's true. It's very, very true. Because here's the thing. The government changes every 4 years. And this is the thing that I've said to people is I'm a Christian. Okay. I have no problem admitting that out loud and sharing that information. I follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. I think we're supposed to love our neighbors and not be buttholes. Okay. That's our job.
Yep.
That's
John 1:3.
That is distilled. John 3:16.
Distilled.
That is some blasphemy.
Wow.
Pastor Todd, I'm sorry.
Pastor Trey, forgive us.
Our bad. Okay. You totally know what the heck was. Oh, I'm a religious person, or I'm a spiritual person. However, I have no desire to live in a theocracy. Okay. I have no desire to live in a theocracy. While I do believe, as our founding fathers said, that our way of governance is only suitable for a virtuous and just people,
Yes.
just and virtuous people.
Correct.
Okay. Now you can be just and virtuous without Jesus. Okay. I just want to make sure that that's clear. So, but we need to make sure that what morality and just things are legislated by our government is not for our religion per se. Okay. We need to protect religious liberties.
Yes.
But if we make this a Christian country, as an example, if we make Christian laws, I keep whacking the thing, it's very bad. Then every 4 years, what if, for my Christian folks, what if someone who's Muslim goes into power? Do we want Sharia law enacted in the United States? Probably not. Do we want freaking I don't know, what's another
Any one of the
I don't know, what is it, Buddhist, where you're like detached completely?
I have friends that are pagans, and do you want to be worshiping Thor? And that's required before every school event.
You do you, okay? Because I'm about religious liberty.
Yeah.
You do you. I just don't think that has a place in our government.
That's the thing, and that's the thing we talk about with anybody who wants to get involved in politics. It's like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So your team has power, and you get to do what you want right now. That's fantastic. Well, in 8 years, when people are tired of that, and it switches, if you haven't been moving constitutionally, they're just going to upend everything you did, and it's going to be chaos and ridiculousness all over again. We don't have to do that. That was not the plan for this place. It's very, very, very simple.
So true. Okay, so we're going through. Olga. Hey, Michael, in case you didn't see it, she said, if you're liberty minded, let's talk. You might be able to get a dual endorsement. Yep, he responded. Okay, good. Excellent. I think we read that one already. I love it. People voting for me. Anybody who can get me in touch with Thomas Massey.
That'd be cool.
Holler at your girl. Fish and Chimps. Find me Thomas Massey's campaign phone number so I can call them.
We need to go to Kentucky.
Kentucky. You know what? Funny enough, that is the Latina Libertarian. Kentucky is doing something right. Rand Paul and Tom Massey. Yeah, but you know who else is from Kentucky?
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. They are doing some things right. Although he does have the ability to whip the votes. So let's see. Okay. Michael put his stuff. I showed that. Everybody should go check it. Olga, gun control is racist. You know, what's really funny. This is one of the things that I think people don't really understand, that the historical context for gun control was to make sure that Black people couldn't get guns. Former slaves, Black people. So, what was it? The I.W. Wells, every Black home should have a Smith & Wesson in a place of honor on the mantle or something like that. I'm sure I said that wrong, but it was close like that.
Quote. Let's see what you got.
Let's see. The complete concentration of weapons in the hands of police and military. So much for the progressives' ban against police brutality. Correct. It's so true. That's what we were talking about. They're going to have guns, right? They just want to disarm you.
A Winchester rifle should have a place of honor in every Black home, and it should be used for that protection, which the law refuses to give. I want to give context to that. Because I forget what it is, but the other gentleman, William Reynolds, I forget his last name, Williams, and it was like Negroes with guns. Refuses to give it because where he was at, the KKK was coming after people. So they started their own NRA chapter, dropped some sandbags, got some carbines, and had a shootout because the cops wouldn't protect them from the Ku Klux Klan. So check. This is so stupid. So if you're telling me as a Black, this is for my progressive and my lefty friends. I want you to hear this. This is on my Facebook. I try to dodge this, but this one's for you. If you're telling me that white people are who I should fear and that the KKK and white supremacy is the main threat to America and blah, 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 why would I not want guns to be able to protect myself when historically I couldn't count on the cops to do it and you already defunded them? Wouldn't that mean all Black people should have arms? All brown people should have arms? Shouldn't it be for the proliferation of firearms, considering they already got them?
I think it was really interesting.
Wait.
Oh.
And since they're terrorists, right? They're going to do terrorism against me. Clearly, they don't care about laws. You don't have enough cops to stop them. Well, shouldn't we be armed to protect and defend ourselves?
I should think so.
Or is ought to be well stupid? I don't know. You tell me which one of those is accurate.
Which one is real? Tell me. Tell me which one is real.
Tell me if ought to be well is stupid
Oh my
or
God.
she's right.
It's so true. Okay, let's see. Cost of livestock food has gone up. Yep. Exactly. Ken says, I think you are absolutely correct about people checking out because of rhetoric. Unfortunately, we need them to stay engaged or we will lose our liberty.
Yes.
It's so true. We need people like you both to travel to Vermont and get folks listening.
You want us to yell at them and insult them into move, troll you into freedom? Is that what you want?
We should. No, seriously, it's really true. And that's the hardest thing. The folks in the rural communities, especially, they really are not engaged. And I know I'm overgeneralizing, but I'm just telling you, like,
they're probably
the same people. Here was the thing that I was told that absolutely made me incensed was that when we were at the gun show, the Lamoille County Fish and Game Club gun show in Essex Junction in March.
Oh yeah.
We were told that we couldn't count on more than 10% of those signatures to be good because we were collecting signatures for my petition to get on the ballot as a Republican.
Thank you for everyone who participated.
Yes, thank you to everyone who bought a raffle ticket, who signed the petition. I was told that the majority of those signatures wouldn't be good, which luckily did not turn out to be the case. However, I thought that was crazy. How can a bunch of gun nuts not be engaged in politics? And I say that with love in my heart. That is not an insult. I love my gun nuts. I'm a gun nut. Everyone should be a gun nut, okay? If you have the means, you should buy yourself an F-35, for real. You used to be able to buy a cannon out of mail order catalogs, is all I'm saying. I think that it's too bad that I only have a cannon that blows air out of it.
It's not that difficult to make.
Ray made, Denver Wilson and Ray Ingram made me a cannon for our floats, and it's awesome. I wish it blew more than air. That'd be amazing. Maybe for next year.
Small fun, yeah. Faster. We did all this stuff.
We did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Money's
State cost problem. Too many. Blah 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 blah. Let's go to the bottom. See what's new. We got Becca's funded by the same folks as Bernie. That's true. She's got his endorsement. What are you oohing?
Oh,
Friday 4 to 6 sign wave in downtown Barrie. Who wants to take one of our signs and go to the sign wave in Barrie 4 to 6? Do we have a supporter down there? Oh, Mary. Awesome. I went and talked to a church about Article 22. Yeah. Awesome. You will help. Holler. Send a DM. Yep. Holler at your girl. Go to the website. Send us a message. Mary says, I need to get more signs. We are pretty much out of signs at this point. I think we have 2 of the regular blue ones. Then we've got some of the fancier ones that are more expensive. We're asking for a donation. You can buy them on the website. It costs like $30 with the shipping. Yes, it's expensive, but y'all, yard signs are expensive. And to be frank, we're not seeing a ton in the way of donations. So our people, our team does not feel like coming out of pocket for a campaign, which makes it very challenging. So people are all asking for a yard sign. If you want a yard sign, go to ericareddick.com or reddickforcongress.com, donate $20 and put in the comments yard signs, and we'll put all that money towards a pool for the yard signs. And
thankfully, we had somebody help us with that previously.
Yeah, we got one. Yeah, one of the donors said, you need yard signs out, so we're going to donate and buy you yard signs. And we said, okay, let's do it.
This is a small operation. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Let's see. Oh, yes. Follow the line on Bernie. Harvey says, follow the line on Bernie. His wife, president of Burlington College, sold the most expensive piece of property after bankrupting it. And I'm pretty sure that's still awaiting grand jury trial. But I don't know what's happening with that. I know it was supposed to go to the grand jury. And all I know is that it has not been pulled to be heard. Olga says, we need government so small that you can be as Christian as you want to be, while your neighbor is as atheist as they want to
That's
be.
pretty good.
As long as property rights are expected because we own ourselves. That's what I'm talking about, girl.
You own yourself.
That is what I'm talking about.
And you are your first responder.
Yep. I love it. Okay. Let's see. The Latina libertarian said that's some libertarian F-35 and cannons, baby. Okay, awesome. I love it. I love it. Okay, you guys. So we've taken up enough of your time for this evening. Campaign updates. Let me know what some other topics you want us to cover on the upcoming Sunday evenings. We've done a good series on energy. We talked about propane, natural gas, and combustion, power plants. We talked about nuclear. What are some other things that people are really interested in? We talked about Article 22 / I am really just killing that microphone tonight. Next time we got to like put it down, like change the shape of where it is. Cause I do this.
We lost a viewer because you did that.
Oh man. They were like, I'm getting out of here. So, yeah, let us know what some ideas that you have are. Oh, and we're probably going to be doing a book signing this fall for our book, Reasons to Trust the Government.
Yeah.
We will put a link in the description. Let me see. Hold on.
tinyurl.com.
Tiny.
Tiny. URL.
Yep.
/ MURICA.
Oh, Murica.
2022.
Oh.
You got all excited.
I know.
You did it too fast.
I did it too fast.
You did it too fast.
Tiny.
The only persons with disabilities, that would be a different issue. There's no way to ensure that.
Murica. 2022.
It seems like, so maybe.
Boom. Okay, so here is a link for our book. We're going to play you the commercial to leave you out today because it's ridiculous and amazing.
That's your funding.
So that's a direct link. Oh, I should have just done the
you
tiny.
did a lot of things.
That was really dumb. I should have just done
Terrible.
the tiny
Okay, so
URL
let
in
me
there.
Ask the question.
Oh, ESSER funding to schools, and where is it going? Are the school boards doing what they can? Is this the equity funding scheme that the state put together? Oh yeah, that didn't work out well. We need to delete those.
It's okay.
I'll fix it.
They're adults. They'll be all right.
No, the world is ending. Look none of them went through correctly. So yes, if the ESSER is that stupid funding mechanism that doesn't work, no, it's not working, and we need to get rid of it.
It doesn't matter. You can't delete it. It's to the end. It doesn't.
Oh, fine. tinyurl.com /Murica 2022. Okay, that's better, you guys. There's the link. I'm a little teapot. Okay. Are school boards doing what they can? No, they absolutely are not. I can tell you, for example, here in Burlington, they are not in consideration of what is reasonable for taxpayers to afford and what we can handle. They have decided that they are going to design their heart's desires and just go with that. And we're all going to be stuck with the bill. So there's a lot that can be done. And we'll end our show with that. Oh, yes. End the Fed. # abolish the Fed. Latina Libertarian. I am a big fan of that. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you, Benjamin, for joining me. As always, getting to share and talk about what matters.
For the record, just want to keep putting this out there. Stop the reffing. I say stop, #stop reffing. What I'm talking about when we say that is everybody's on the sidelines complaining.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and this is going to be one of those rough parts of the conversation I get to say because I'm not running for office, so I can say it. Everybody's on the sideline. I listen to these people at these places, these campaigns, or whatever. They're not engaged. They don't donate. They don't volunteer. They don't sign wave. They don't do anything but complain.
Yep.
You're a ref. This is not a spectator sport. You're supposed to be in the game. You're supposed to be coaching. You're supposed to have something on the line. You're not supposed to be on the sidelines pointing at people and saying how bad they are. If they suck that bad, get engaged and help them get kicked out. Kick them out. Find candidates. Cultivate candidates. If there's no candidate, and what I say, there's like 40% of the races in Vermont, there's nobody running. That doesn't make any sense.
And a lot of people say that they're scared and that it's hard. And trust me, I get it. I am a person who likes being on stage and likes doing public speaking and likes getting to engage with people. And it's hard. And it's taken time to cultivate the skills and the ability to do some of this stuff. But that's the whole thing, is it takes practice and skills. And so if you have any interest at all or any desire to do something, get engaged with a campaign, work on the sidelines. And here, literally, you guys, okay? Our founding fathers put their lives and their sacred honor on the line to build this country. Our military, our war heroes literally died for your ability to sit on your behind and watch this YouTube video right now. Okay? All you have to do is put some flyers in somebody's door or under their windshield wiper.
Share some links in some Facebook groups.
I'm not even asking you to go to a war zone and like dodge shrapnel, or like my uncle. My uncle was a Vietnam veteran. He was part of the bomb squad. So they literally went out ahead of all the other troops to find the bombs and landmines to make sure that the ground troops could come through.
Wow.
Okay. He saw some of the worst devastation that we could ever ask for a young man to deal with when he was in Vietnam. That's what he did so that you could be free to eat hot dogs and hamburgers on the weekend and have fun with your friends and family.
I'm going to throw another jab. We're at a meeting, and I'm not going to say names, but a gentleman talked about why people were disengaged. And his answer was it's from the top, right? Like, you need leadership is where the motivation comes from. Check this out. And this is for all my guys out there and my single moms especially. You're the leader in your household. Your child isn't waiting for the head of some party or a Phil Scott or somebody to come down and change things. They need you to get engaged and make changes happen. If you're the leader or you're a follower, don't be a follower. Don't be that weak where you need someone external to come in and motivate you to do the things that are necessary for freedom and for your family. That is not an adult thing to do. I know this sounds heavy and harsh, but I've listened to people make these sorts of defenses for being inactive in a lot of these processes. It no longer flies anymore because we are seeing the direct results of how we've all been inactive for years. These people are just doing stuff. Unqualified people are making changes to the world that you and I are going to have to live in forever. So I'm just saying, like, you can't use those as excuses, okay? Get out there and make some moves. Have some hard conversations with your families and your friends. You know, sometimes, like, we have multiple people who think completely different about politics because someone explained it to them, especially ethnic people. We've been told we have to vote one way or the other because of our color. Super rude. It's freaking racist, for the record, to say that to people. What Joe Biden said was racist. You don't know to vote for me or Trump, you ain't black. It's infuriating. Letting people talk like that is letting people talk to you like you're a stupid Negro who doesn't know how to make up his own mind. Okay? Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Engage.
Well, and that's what this idea that motivation has to come from the top is just a way of avoiding the responsibility that you're talking about. And it actually demonstrates a misunderstanding of our government. So the folks who believe that, I just have to ask, who do you believe is the government? Because it's not me as your elected official. It's y'all. It's you guys. I only derive power from your willingness to give it to me. I can only do and represent you if you tell me how to represent you. My power comes from you. And it is only from your generosity and graciousness that I can wield it. And so I'm not in charge. You are. So get off the bench, get on the field.
Mhm.
Don't let the most radical among us make the decisions.
Olga says apathy has gotten to us to yes to yes lockdowns and totalitarianism, and that our bureaucrats will attempt re-implement. Yes, 1984 is alive and well. Read it
Yes.
again and just watch.
Look
Look at the last 2
me,
years.
Latina libertarian, your name is racist. Okay, you need to be the
Oh.
Latinx
Oh yeah,
libertarian.
you got to be Latinx. now.
And now we're going to call you a breakfast taco. Okay, so you're Latinx breakfast taco, according to Jill Biden.
Oh my gosh, it's so wild.
Anyway,
So-
okay. We're going to end it there. Okay, love you guys. Have a great rest of your Sunday evening. We will see you later. Let's see what we got going on this week. We got the Republican Economic Forum happening at the local TV station in St. Albans.
Mhm.
I think you can go to the GOP website and actually get tickets to go, but you can also watch it online. Then we've got a meet and greet in Grand Isle on Tuesday. What else we have going on? We got the National Night Out on Tuesday as well, where police officers, police departments are serving their communities.
Mhm.
We've got the homeschool meeting on Friday. We've got the Washington County GOP on Friday. We're running all over the state. So while I put 4 million miles on my car and spend $1 billion on gas, what I need y'all to do is get some flyers, pick up some flyers, and spread them around. Okay, we're going to close. We are going to close later.
Thank you, Michael.
Angelo.
I see you, Angelo. I see you, baby.
We're going to close with our reasons to trust the government commercial
Yeah, enjoy.
because y'all deserve it.
This book will give you wings. What kind of wings? Not like Icarus wings. Eagle wings.
What about
You'll have dragon blood. You'll be able to breathe fire.
Ultra Eagle Dragon?
This book will make you smarter.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking. I'm talking Tesla. You'll be so good looking. Brad Pitt will be killer.
Do you want money?
How much?
Elon Musk.
That's a lot of money.
People with Elon Musk, but you're not Elon Musk.
Elon Musk, because you pay taxes like
Elon Musk.
You have
to argue with a war. Elon Musk. Do you want freedom?
How much freedom?
All the freedom. One to America. How much freedom do you want?
America.
Double America.